At this time, I would like to introduce a new face to most of us, but representing one of the founding partners of CGA, FEMSA. Mr. Timothy Butters is the Deputy Administrator of the Pipeline and Hazardous Material Administration. Prior to joining his appointment at FEMSA, he served as the Assistant Chief of Operations for the City of Fairfax Fire Department, located in Northern Virginia. His responsibilities included oversight of day-to-day fire department emergency response operations, as well as training and emergency medical services. During his tenure as Assistant Fire Chief, he also served as the Chairman of the Hazardous Materials Committee, the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Deputy Administrator Butters served 10 years as Managing Director of the Chemical Transportation Emergency Center, CHEMTRECὸ, a 24-hour hazardous material emergency communication center operated by the American Chemistry Council. He was also Director of Government Affairs for the International Association of Fire Chiefs and Senior Manager with the United States Fire Administration, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. His prior fire and EMS experience included over 25 years of volunteer service with the Burke Volunteer Fire Department in Fairfax County, Virginia, and also 15 years of serving as Chief Officer, including Chief of the Department. The Deputy Administrator holds a bachelor's degree in Business Administration and Economics from James Madison University. He resides with his family in Springfield, Virginia. Please help me welcome our new friend, Deputy Administrator Timothy Butters.
Well, thank you very much, Vic. Good morning. I want to thank Vic, Bob, and all of you for that thoughtful introduction, of course, the Secretary and his welcoming video. You know, they had to tape that thing 3 times because he kept calling me the Deputy Secretary of Transportation. And I said, well, maybe there's something in that, you know. But I'm glad to be here. It's my first opportunity to spend a few minutes with you this morning with the Common Ground Alliance. As Vic indicated, my background is really from the emergency response side. I'm an operationally oriented person, as I tell the folks at FEMSA. That's where a lot of my roots are. And as a command officer, incident commander, safety for firefighters was one of our principal guiding principles in how we did business. And since I've come to FEMSA, which I joined FEMSA back in November, it clearly has been one of the driving principles in that organization as well. As you can appreciate, as an emergency response guide, dealing with these sorts of excavation incidents is a very common part of our job. Gas leaks and incidents like that, we run every day. Most of them are very small, but we do also have those occasional significant serious incidents. We've had a number of them in the Northern Virginia area. So, you know, we regard these as low frequency but very high consequence incidents. And one of the things that we will continue to do here at FEMSA is to try to make sure that the emergency response community is ready to deal with these incidents. Obviously, the prevention side of it is as critical. And as we learned from the NTSB hearings last week, the readiness of local emergency responders when it comes to pipeline-related incidents there's a lot of work to be done. You know, personally, I also have a little bit of experience in this area. As many of you who may have started their careers as a laborer in a construction job, I started the same way. I was 19 years old and working in a construction job, and my supervisor said, hey, you drive those fire trucks, don't you? I said, well, yeah. He goes, well, you could probably drive this tree spade, too. I said, oh, hey, yeah, a truck, it's better than a shovel. Sure, I'll do that. So one day he's got me planting this like 20-foot tree, and those of you know who a tree spade is, it's a big device with 4 blades that sits on the back of a chassis, a truck, and you basically, dig a hole, pull the dirt out, and drop a tree in. And this was a pretty significant vehicle that I was operating. So one morning he says, okay, we're going to plant this tree over in this neighborhood. So I said, okay. So I sight the thing, and I'm looking at the ground, and I said, you think we ought to call that number about finding what's underneath the ground here? He goes, don't worry about that. You just plant that tree. Okay. So I put the 3 blades in. I'm putting that last blade in. And those of you who have operated that thing, sometimes you run into rocks and roots and stuff like that, and the thing's kind of hung up, so I just jam it in there, and bam, it goes in. I pull up the block of dirt, and there's this cable with like 1,000 wires hanging off it. And just about that time, this woman comes out from a neighbor's house. She said, I was talking on the phone, and it went dead. I think I know why. Well, it turns out I cut like a 1,200 pair, back then it was C&P telephone cable, which took about 3 or 4 days to splice up. So fortunately, it wasn't anything more serious like a gas or a liquid line, but I grew to appreciate the importance of misutility. That's what we used in Virginia, and which later became 811. As I mentioned, and as the Secretary mentioned, safety is a critical principle at FEMSA and at DOT. Our nation's pipeline infrastructure, as those of you know in this room, is critical to our way of life, delivering the majority of our country's energy needs. Most of these resources are transported underground through about 2.5 million miles of pipelines that crisscross this country. This infrastructure is often at risk of being damaged by excavation activities that have the potential for serious consequences to people, property, and the environment. Part of our core mission at FEMSA is to ensure for the safe, reliable, and environmentally sound operation of the nation's pipeline network, both gas and liquid. Preventing excavation damage to underground infrastructure is of extreme importance to us in fulfilling our mission. We recognize that we can't do this without cooperation with government and industry. And through this cooperation with CGA and FEMSA, we share a mutual commitment to reducing damage to underground utilities. We also recognize that this mission is best achieved through shared responsibility. Sometimes we work collectively, sometimes we work independently, but the key is working together and sharing this joint responsibility is the driving force behind damage prevention initiatives. And I can assure you that, as you heard from the Secretary and from my boss, Cynthia Quarterman, the Administrator, we take our responsibility very, very seriously. Since 1999, when CGA was created as a result of the Common Ground study, your dedication to raising awareness and the promotion of damage prevention to underground infrastructure has been substantial, and you've made great progress. This year, the CGA, as I understand, is record-breaking conference attendance this year, which is up by, I understand, 25%, is a testament to the commitment of so many of you in this room have in preventing pipeline damage. We appreciate those efforts from the federal government, and that's why you have our full support. We believe that pipeline damage prevention is good business and is essential to improving safety across this country. We have a number of members of our organization from FEMSA here at this conference, which I think is a good testament to our support. Steve Fisher, Sam Hall, Christy, Harold, Anne Marie, and John are all here. I know they're scattered throughout the room. While they're here, if you have any questions about how we can help you, please don't hesitate to seek them out. I know that back home, Jeff Weiss and the rest of the team in the pipeline side are clearly committed to the work that you're doing. We are pleased to work with you in terms of providing some additional support this year for the 811 communications plan that we're going to begin rolling out in cooperation or in sync with National Digging Month in April.